guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this series we're going to be going over Saturn in the houses, okay? Saturn in the houses. And in this episode we're going to be talking about the third house, okay? So having Saturn in your third house, all right? And before we get into that, I want to remind you guys, if you enjoy my little promo in the beginning of this video, that's my music video. Check it out. I have the link in the description box below and all my music, so I really appreciate that. But yes, Saturn in the third house. Now, before we get into that, let's just understand what Saturn and the third house is. Saturn in astrology is the planet of responsibility, construction, restriction, discipline, building, career. Saturn is here to work us, to make us work. The reason why we have labor, work here, the reason why we can't do big things here unless we put in the work is because of Saturn. Saturn's all about putting in the work, okay? Think about going to the gym and you gotta do all this work and you're feeling all this pain, but the results that you get out of it, that is Saturn, okay? Just compare it to the gym. Saturn, working your way up for your results and your rewards. Saturn wants to teach you discipline though. It wants to teach you how to be disciplined and responsible, so it puts you through obstacles. And it's very practical. So this deals with our physical reality, how we sustain our physical reality, our career, our jobs, our money, all of that, okay? So that is Saturn in this reality when you go. So that's Saturn. And then you have the third house, okay? The third house is the house ruled by Gemini. This is the house of the mind, okay? This is how we receive information and also how we communicate information. So it's our mental processing, it's how we learn, read, write, spell. It's also our communication, how we speak, how we talk, how we communicate. Okay, it's how we understand our world, okay? It's mental. The third house is a very mental, so it's how we're receiving information, it's how we're seeing everything around, it's our routines, okay? How we operate, how we function, okay? And with all this communication in the third house, it deals with our community, what we're surrounded, how we communicate with our world, and how we use our minds to connect to our world, okay? This is the third house, all right? So the first thing I can say with Saturn in the third house is that people like this are going to have problems with their speech, okay? You're going to get obstacles when it comes to talking and speech. This can even be like stuttering, not being able to like say your ideas correctly, not being able to like use the words to like really explain yourself, having like real practical issues with the mind, okay? And it's such a big energy, it leads into like schooling, okay? Third house deals with school, education, our elementary, early child school, even middle school, all of this, because again, it's our brain, it's how we use, that's how we learn, how to read, write, and spell, how we're developing our minds. So again, with Saturn here, it's like you could have had a tough time with school, okay? Not only just a tough time with speech and communication, but with school in general, because again, this is dealing with reading, writing, how we're receiving and learning information, and there could be lots of obstacles here. Okay, and this is because Saturn is trying to build you when it comes to your mind. All right, this is a very challenging but very rewarding placement. And it's not just speaking, again, it's reading, writing. You might have obstacles reading and writing, all of those things. Learning subjects could have been hard, especially in your early child years. Because of Saturn, like just putting in obstacles, they could have put you in the classes that were like slower, because you had trouble reading, you could get words and systems mixed up. It could just be a challenge using your mind. But this challenge might seem like a death sentence. Like you might feel like, damn, like in your early, school years, you could have felt like, damn, I'm not smart, I'm never gonna be smart. Or, I'm really slow, but really Saturn's like slowing it up for you, is doing this to make you more critical, make you more responsible with your mind, make you think harder, okay? Make you think harder before you speak, make you really get connected to your mind, because all these obstacles are making you slow down. It's like, wait, let me think, let me process this information more. That's what Saturn does. It's slow, and Saturn in the third house. It slows down the mind, it slows down the mental activity so you can really take your time and understand the processes. So yes, it's definitely difficult in the beginning, especially with the early school, because it can feel like you're being bullied. It can feel like you're just a dumb kid in the class, which is not true. All this learning stuff and writing and reading and mathematics and all these types of stuff. But again, this is to get you to slow down and really think and be more mentally active and stronger and critical and accurate, okay? So again, if you believe in karma, past lives, this could have been an issue for you. Okay, your mind, your communication, your speaking too fast, not speaking too slow, not thinking enough, making mistakes, okay, with your decisions, not being able to process information properly. Saturn is slowing this down so that you can get better at this, okay? So yes, it's gonna feel like you're slow in the, early stages, but this is to slow things down and to take your mind seriously, okay? Because like I said, Saturn operates in karma. Because like I said, the third house, it rules your mind. Our mind is how we function. It's how we go to work every single day. It's how we understand our reality. It's how we function. It's how we operate. It's a system. So Saturn here is trying to get you to take this system, take it seriously, okay? Because you're having problems, so it's gonna slow it up, and the whole point is for you to get better, okay? Get better mentally. And once you practice this, you will get better, okay? People with Saturn in third houses become incredible writers, incredible speakers. They can become motivational speakers, great writers, especially writing, okay? Because writing is very introverted, and Saturn is that kind of like conservative. So it gives you the time to really think, okay, and be in your head about what you're saying. So really good placement for writers. Like I said, as you get older, you become very, very smart. It's because you slowed things down. You slowed things down. You took things more seriously, and you thought about it stronger and harder because you've been through so many obstacles of, not getting the answer right, or not understanding where you're going, what's happening, not understanding systems and functions, all of it kind of like blurring in your head, and you learn how to slow things down and really have a direct focus and understand how to do something step by step, okay? So this is a discipline of the mind. It makes you smart, and because you slowed it down and you've taken things step by step and you are hard on yourself, you become really good later. That's just all happens. Like all of this, it seems like things are going to be the worst for you, but these people could become such great writers. They become such great speakers. They become so smart, so intellectual, okay? With Saturn in the third house here. So definitely don't be discouraged, because I'm telling you, this is all training for you to get really good, okay? Really good with the mind. Also with this placement, your teachers could have been really tough too, so don't be surprised with that. Teachers could be very disciplined, like teachers pretty much taking on the role of Saturn. So, and again, this is because Saturn's trying to discipline you. You don't understand, like your teachers could have been really tough on you, make you do it over and over and over again, getting kind of irritated with you to get you to slow things down and take things seriously, okay? This is tough work, so you're definitely gonna get a lot of that training, but like I said, you're gonna end up blossoming. Also, Saturn dealing with your career, teaching, okay, mentoring, okay, even being a professor. This could be a good career field for you to go to, because third house is the house of teaching, is the house of mentorship, but especially teaching, because third house is education. It's how we receive information. It's how we understand it and learn. This is how we learn. So teaching is such a great field to go into. Saturn dealing with your career. And you're going to be such a great teacher because you're going to know how to break things down. Okay, it's nothing like having a Saturn third house teacher. They're very disciplined, very constructive. They go step by step because they understand how important it is to go step by step, because they had to deal with things being very confusing and not being disciplined with the mind. But because they've had all that discipline and all that work, the way they teach is very step by step. They really train their students to be successful, okay? Because they understand, the teacher that was always smart, they might not have that understanding. and just assume that everyone can just pick up information quickly. But the Saturn in third house teacher, that's the teacher that's been the quote unquote dumb student, you know, was the slow student, or the one that, so this person understands what it's like to not understand things. So like I said, they make great teachers because they're going to be able to break it down step by step, make it very clear and constructive, okay? It's like a process, you know, so very great teachers. And it's a great field for them to go to because like I said, Saturn, you're tapping into your career, the biggest money you can make, okay? So in career-wise, it's a great place to go into. Also, Saturn, very great, Saturn third house, okay? Like I said, once they get through those obstacles, very great communicators. Very great communicators, very specific, very straight to the point, very constructive, okay? Everything makes sense. Very much that with Saturn third house people, okay? They don't like BS talk. You know, they usually are very constructive with what they say. They get to the point, okay? And they take it step by step, like they're building an idea, okay? So that is great for communication, okay? Because you can't go wrong there. Also with Saturn in the third house, your community, okay? Because the third house rules your community, okay? So who you communicate with, who the people around you that you're communicating with, your neighborhood, okay? Your school, your community. These people could have been very harsh to you. Okay, you could have had a lot of people like speaking harsh things or saying things that are very critical about you, just like you know, were dealing with in school, but just everywhere in neighborhood, because this is Saturn in third house. So Saturn's gonna make criticism a very common thing. Something you will find like in your community all the time, like your neighbors saying this, like you gotta do this right, or someone telling you gotta do that right, or your brothers or sisters telling you gotta do this, or you did this wrong, or you know, your teachers, like you're going to be surrounded by a lot of critique is basically what I'm saying, because the third house represents your community, and Saturn and third house also represents your community in terms of how you communicate. So Saturn being here, it's a lot of criticism. So just a lot of people around you, your associates, they can be very critical of you. But also, I will be honest, with Saturn in third house, you have to be careful because sometimes all this criticism is a lot on you. And Saturn would definitely want you to overcome it and prove them wrong. But sometimes, you know, it's hard. It's Saturn. You know, people do fall victim to a lot of criticism. So all this criticism they're getting, they start criticizing themselves a lot. Okay, this is a very common thing with Saturn third house. And Saturn anywhere, you know, you're going to be criticizing that. So you can create a mentality where you're very critical and harsh on yourself. You got to be careful with that, because that can really limit your growth, okay? The criticism to yourself is good to a certain extent. It's really good for your communicating, your speaking, because you always make sure you know what you're talking about. Saturn third house people, they're not comfortable talking unless they're sure they know what they're talking about. So your communication skills are really going to be powered here, but it can also, with all the criticism, it can shy you away from speaking, okay? So like you're so critical on yourself and you don't want to talk, you don't want to say anything wrong. So you got to be careful with that, because all this criticism from Saturn here in your third house, it can stop you from the speech, you know? And that's not what Saturn wants you to do. Saturn wants you to overcome this, but you're getting this criticism because you need to know that you need to get better at this. You need to get better with the communication, with the mind, with how you use your mental energy. You got to get better. You got to get more constructive. You got to get more disciplined. Saturn placements are going to be difficult. They have to be. It's obstacles. It's here to build you. But I'm telling you, you can overcome this, okay? And don't get caught into over criticizing yourself. Understand the criticism is for you to do better, and understand that you don't have to take any of the criticism so deeply. Saturn trying to like be like, oh, like trying to like taunt you into like overcoming, you know? So be like, no, I can write. I do know what I'm writing. I do know what I'm talking about. I can do this. You know, I am a good writer. I am a good speaker. You know, I am smart. I can learn math. I can learn these subjects. I can be good at this, you know? Take those criticisms to motivate you, because that's Saturn is. Saturn's a fighter. Saturn's like a warrior. It wants you to work. So when these obstacles come to you, it's not about, you got to overcome them. Get mad at the person who said that to you, but prove that you can do it. Take that motivation so that you can do better. take all these criticisms and do better, because you will overcome it. Saturn with this discipline, I'm telling you, these people become great writers, great speakers, great teachers, great at this. It's just taking discipline and it's taking time. Third house is very logical and practical. It's all about like instructions. It's all about the details. It's all about your mentality, you know. So very, very mental energy. Lots of mental gymnastics, in my opinion, going on. Or lots of mental like weightlifting going on, like, you know. But yes, that is Saturn in the third house. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It is a challenging placement, but it's not meant for you to fall. You will overcome these if you practice, and train. Read, study, you know, work on your subjects. Take your time with it. You go through, you know, you're having problems receiving information. Get a tutor, you know, get someone who can help you out, because Saturn wants to slow this thing down. You're not going to get things quickly. You're not meant to, because you need training. You need to understand how detailed your mind is and how important and serious you got to take it. You got to be very focused on that. So get your tutors, read lots of books, okay? Practice speaking, practice communicating. Take your time when you communicate, okay? The more you take your time, the more quicker it'll come through time. So then, you know, if you slow down your speech, you'll be able to think more properly. And then the more you practice this, the more you'll start getting faster. You know, it's like a muscle, you know, you got to practice it. So Saturn's working it. So definitely do that, because you will overcome this and you'll become the smart, very smart person that you're always meant to be. So that is Saturn in the third house. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay, and book a reading with me. I do astral readings as well as tarot. All you gotta do is email me in the description box below, and I'll definitely get with you guys. All right, and I'll see you guys at the next video.
Cause now I'm taking it back. Yeah, I'm taking it back. Oh, you taking it back? You don't be texting me back. You don't be texting me back. Oh, you got me hitting you.